Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jesse from VCC Board Repairs, and today we're going to do a video about an iPhone XS Max with no touch. So I'm going to go through the process to repair the no touch issue, and then also that requires doing a bottom board swap. So I'll be recording this whole process. It's going to be a long video, but I'm going to go through every single step that I always go through to do this repair. So first I want to start off showing off some of the tools I'll be using for this repair. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's go switch over to this camera. So first of all, here's the actual device that has the issue. So currently I am testing in my known good housing. So that's a very important tool to have, is an actual known good housing, known good screen. So as you can see, I do have them labeled, so I know, when I have my bin full of parts, like these are my known good parts. So known good battery, known good screen, known good housing. So that's important. Next thing is the eye socket. So this is how we could temporarily connect the two sandwiches, the two layers, so that I could test it without actually soldering it together. This is another iPhone XS Max board, which is considered a donor board. This is a known good board that is iCloud locked, but it the board parts are so good, so I'm gonna utilize that for the other board, the customer's board. Also important is some loose parts like a battery and a charging port. I'll show you that, why I use that later. And this is a programmer. This is a JC Pro 1000S and the Eeprom adapter. So this will let me read and write the Eeprom data from baseband, which we do need to swap over. So instead of swapping over the actual chip, what we're going to do is read the original and then write it into the new board. So this is a very important tool. I got it from Union Repair, unionrepair.com. Highly recommend them for any kind of soldering tools. So, and also very important, it is a sandwich board heater. So I have actually two of them. So this is the old one. This one supports iPhone 10, XS, XS Max. This is the newer one that supports the ones I just mentioned, plus iPhone 11, 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max. I do prefer this one for the XS and XS Max and the 10, because these don't have like giant posts sticking up, so it's a lot easier to put the board here versus this one that has these little posts, and sometimes it doesn't line up perfectly, so the board kind of gets stuck. So I only use this for the 11 series really. So for this video we're gonna stick to this one. As you can see, it's had lots of use. So so let me show you. So this is the phone. Let me see. Still on? Well, let me plug it into charge. I see some people have joined. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining the live stream. So if you're watching live, make sure you comment in the chat. Say #live if you're watching live. If you're watching later, make sure you leave a comment and just say hello, say where you're from. Leave a fire emoji, up to you. All right, so you can see the phone turns on. There's no touch. So that means there's an issue. I am testing with my known good screen. And just for reference, this is the actual original housing, the customer's housing. As you can tell, it's had a hard impact. So this should be your clue that there's a problem. #lit, I do like that idea. So if you're watching live, make sure you #lit. If you're watching later, then do a fire emoji. How about that? All right, cool. So we've determined this is a board issue just because I am testing with known good parts. We have a hard impact. We have signs of hard impact. So, everything's pointing towards that. The next step that I would do here is, let me get all these cables out. Next step that I do usually is visually inspect the board. So let me go to my camera. So this is the actual board. If you follow my Instagram or Facebook, you probably saw my story about this last night. So this is the physical board. Let me start off by taking off this foam. If I take out this foam, it just gives me a better view of the board. Just to make sure I don't visually miss anything. You could save it and then put it back later. Up to you. There's also this little kind of sticker that wraps around. Make sure you take this off because when you do have to separate the board, it'll hold the board and mess you up. All right. So yeah, I pretty much separated the sticker, so I think this should be fine for now. All right, so one of the first things I check on these, no touch, hard impact situations, is right here. So the board is made out of basically it's two main layers and an interposer, kind of like a spacer. So you can see up here is the main layer, and then down here is the bottom board. And then there's this gold middle section called the interposer. It kind of just connects two halves. They're like tubes from the bottom to the top. But one of the common things is actually down here where the interposer connects with the bottom board. If you look closely, you'll see the issue here. So if I bend the phone, you can see there's a gap. That gap should not be there. In contrast, this is the donor board, the green sticker. You see the difference. You can easily see the difference here. You see it's like solid. Like I kind of push on it and nothing happens. It doesn't move. Customer's board. You guys see that separation? So that's probably the issue here where why there's no touch. So to start off, what I'm gonna do, you gotta just separate this board. So first is, let's go ahead and cut this sticker. The top layer actually starts just from here on out. So I'm going to start the sandwich separation process. So I'm going to turn on, you see it's on, red light. I'm going to place the board on the heater. I gotta lock it into place. So I gotta rotate these things to kind of hold it here. And then another one down here. So this process does take a few minutes to heat up. So I'm trying to think, what could I do in the meantime? I guess I could finish this part off. So one of the things about sandwich repairs is that actually, let me go to this other camera. So one of the things about sandwich repairs is that, where was he going with that? Oh, yeah, so you actually rarely need to use hot air if you're just fixing the sandwich. So, when you're separating and reballing it and placing it back, you basically don't need hot air. if you use hot air on the top layer, you're very likely to warp the board, which kind of makes it difficult to revolve because then it won't sit flat. You know, 2 layers will be like kind of lopsided. All right, so while we wait for that board to heat up, let me test this donor board. My understanding, the board is good. So let's just confirm. So it's very important to always test everything. You don't want to just grab a donor board from the pile and then go through all the work to do the bottom board swap, and then it turns out it was bad. So something to keep in mind. All right, so this is the donor board, basically the transplant board, the one I'm going to use for to do the transplant. All right, so touch works, so you can see touch is working. So this tells me the board does not have any issues with touch. So also I'm going to check the Wi-Fi, which I didn't plug in the Wi-Fi antenna, so I'm just going to plug them in real quick. All right, they're plugged in, so we should see the Wi-Fi networks pop up any second now. Let me back up. Oh, there it is. So we have Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi works. Let me connect to Wi-Fi, and then I'm going to try to activate the phone. This will tell me. So this will tell me if there's any baseband issues. If it has baseband issues, then it won't activate. If the baseband is good, then it's going to tell me to log in to iCloud, which this board is locked, so I don't know the login info, but it will tell me. There it is. See, so that activation lock screen, that means the baseband information is there, and it was able to check in that data with Apple servers, and it came back with the activation lock, which is fine. So everything points to this board being a good candidate for using for the bottom board swap. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the board. So in theory, if this whole process goes well, then we'll have a successful repair. There's always a chance, you know, something can go wrong, then we're kind of screwed. We'll see. I would say I have a pretty high success rate with these. Maybe like 80-90% success rate. There's some cases where, for whatever reason, you know, I can't get touch working or baseband working. You know, who knows what the issue is, but you know, this is a live video, so we could just end this short because of some unforeseen issue pops up in the process. So one of the things I like to do is label my boards. So I'm going to get a Sharpie. I'm going to write on the board, let's call it, let's put DNR for donor. So DNR. I'm just going to write it everywhere so I won't mix them up. DNR. So DNR for donor, just, you know, on all the different sections. And then let's check back in on this board sitting in the oven, so to speak. All right, let's see if this is ready. So what I like to do is push down. Let me get some water. I'm getting thirsty, speaking a lot. Plus it gives me more time for the board to warm up. All right, so what I like to do is push down on the board and see if I see any kind of flux. So if you look, right below this connector right here, you're gonna see some flux, or I was seeing it earlier. You kind of see some flux oozing out. Thanks for your support, George. My confidence has now gone up 10 times due to your comment about your faith in my sandwich abilities. All right, so it might be hard to see through the camera, but you kind of see some like liquid. So that tells us that the solder between the two layers has flowed, like it has liquefied, and is basically ready for separation. So this is what I like to do to separate. So I have these iNeasy tweezers, which are super thin, and I like to go under this screw hole here. I like to just come down just a tiny bit. Somewhere around here I could like squeeze this in. There we go, I got the tweezers in, and I can just grab it and pick it up. All right, so one of the things I was concerned about before I even started this repair is if I were to have a bunch of ripped pads, then that would like basically ruin this whole video, because especially if there's like a ton of ripped pads, then it makes the repair super difficult, and probably I wouldn't have been able to finish it. So here, let me give you an example of what rip pads look like. So if you see, there's like these brown circles with like little 3 dots. Those are all ripped pads. So every of those circles should be a little silver circle with solder, but instead it has like 3 dots, which means the actual pad was left on the sandwich, on the bottom board of the sandwich. So that's what ripped pads look like. But in my case, here in this, the one I'm doing for this video, you can see every pad is intact. So that tells me the only damage is on the bottom board, which I had showed it earlier in the video. Oh look, there's one right here actually. But it's just one versus 100. Hey Roger, yeah, I'm actually in Las Vegas, so that is Pacific time. So right now it is 11:53 p.m., which kind of worried because I have a feeling it's gonna take a few hours and finish at 2 a.m. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do here is put this customer board here on the side. Now what we need for the bottom board swap is the baseband, the Wi-Fi, and the EEPROM, but that is not physically transferred over, just the data is transferred over. If you guys do a lot of screen repairs and do the the programmer for the screen where you plug in the original, you read, you plug in the replacement, and you write, that's basically what we're doing here. But instead of being screen EEPROM data, we're doing baseband EEPROM data. So let me just clean off some of this underfill, and then I'm going to pop off the baseband Wi-Fi and put them aside for I'm going to save them for later, basically. I got to do this pretty quick because it took forever to start the live stream. I was busy wasting my time on Facebook. Also, it takes me like at least 30 minutes to come up with a thumbnail for the video. I had to I don't know, just think of something that will stand out without having any content to to use. Like I can't use a picture of a sandwich board because I haven't separated a sandwich. So I kind of have to come up with something. So if you saw my thumbnail, I just got a giant sandwich little icon thing. All right, cool. So I'm gonna start off with removing baseband. So you can see there my temperatures. So just go ahead and basically go around the perimeter using my razor blade. It says there's a number 11 blade, but it looks a little different. But I ran out of the other blades I normally use. Alright, so basically what I'm doing is clearing up the underfill that's between the chip and the board. What this does is it basically, I'm like kind of scoring it. You know what that means? You're essentially creating a line, a separation, so it'll be easier to detach once you do try to remove it. So this is my bad bottom board. So I don't really care if I damage the board as long as the chip is okay. But once I get to the donor board, which is the new bottom board, then I definitely want to be careful not to scratch or lose any components. So that's going to be the new board. Everything's going to be transferred to. So I am using higher than usual heat to do this underfill removal. Normally I'm like at 250, but this board doesn't really matter, so I could be less careful. And so essentially this gray chip is a Wi-Fi chip. The Wi-Fi is paired to the CPU. So if you do have to replace it, you do have to unlock, like basically unpair or remove the lock from the NAND to tell it like, hey, don't worry about which Wi-Fi is installed. From the factory it comes paired. It comes kind of like a carrier lock, where if you buy a phone from like T-Mobile, the phone only works on T-Mobile. You have to go through the unlock process, so then it can accept any any SIM card. Same concept. The CPU or the NAND for some reason has that information of what Wi-Fi chip it can support, and it's currently only this specific Wi-Fi chip. So it's just easy to transfer this over versus not transferring over, but you still have to go through NAND to do it. And also the XS Max doesn't support this thing called Purple, which is like it uses the jailbreak, the exploit to let you configure NAND through USB. All right, so to get back to this, so now I'm gonna remove baseband. I'm gonna use my hook and 400 Celsius with trying to think of what angle. I go here from the top. I'm gonna use my hook, and I'm gonna scoop in under here to lift it up. So just heat it. It's already coming off. And I'm just kind of slightly twisting it. All right, so this is off. Let me save it here in a little spot I have designated. All right, so next is this one. Let's see, where can I enter? So I'm going to enter here. I'm going to use this cap here as like leverage. I got the tip of the blade inside, and I'm heating it. Oh, look, there it is. All right. This one time I did rip a pad from the Wi-Fi chip, and then I had to go through replacing the Wi-Fi chip and then reballing or removing that, putting the programmer, etc. All right. So I basically have the 2 chips that I need removed. Let me save those. Those are the important ones. And then I do have to prep these pads because some of these pads are needed for the programmer to read the EEPROM. So what I'm going to do is use some 183 Celsius solder, some low melt, not super low melt, but just regular low melt. Just gonna just tin all the pads. All right, so let me clean up this flux before I get out of here. iPhone 11 Pro Max LCD swap. You mean how to just replace the screen? What do you mean? So there's a comment saying I need to do an iPhone 11 Pro Max LCD swap. Do you have any content on that? I don't know. You're just referring to just a standard screen repair or something else. All right, so I'm gonna take out. This is my that was the customer board. So I'm gonna put it off to the side because I still need it. This is my new. This is my donor board. Let me get out this foam. And then here's that sticker. I don't know why they even put this random sticker there. Seems pointless to me. Then I'm going to slice this tape. All right, cool. By the way, if you're watching, make sure you check out the links in the description. I do have a recommended tool page at vccboardrepairs.com/gear. There's a link in the description. I also am the lead solder coach for a micro soldering course. So that's all in the description if you want to learn more. You can always send me a message as well. My website, vccboardrepairs.com. All right, so while this warms up, let's see, what can I do? Let me come to the main board here. This is the customer's board. So one important thing is to clean off all this thermal paste. I like to get rid of it because it's very hard to remove once it's all over, like the pads, like the actual, like it mixes with flux and whatnot. It's like it basically turns like to sand, and so I'm throwing it away under my desk and my trash can. So I just like to somehow get it stuck to my tool and then just get rid of it. I don't reapply it after, and I never had any kind of warranty issues because of this. Surprisingly, I don't get many warranty issues on sandwich repairs. So All right, so let's see. All right, let me get this on the jig here, the board holder. So one of the steps in this whole process will require me to reball the sandwich. So let me prep the pads. So I'm adding some flux all around the perimeter. I'm gonna add my own solder, like the lower melting solder. Then I'm gonna come back and wick it. No, I don't do any. All my content is revolving soldering. So I don't do screen repair videos. If you want a screen repair video, check out ProFixer. Search ProFixer. I'm pretty sure he has a video on this on the 11 Pro Max. All right, so I'm just going to run my iron over every single pad. By the way, if you're watching, make sure you subscribe. And let's see, I have 3 likes, so looks like I need you guys to smash that like button. Definitely help out the channel, you know, and it helps me make more videos. The more likes I see, the more likely I am to want to record more videos. So let's get that like count. Let's get it up to 10 at least. We're at 3 right now, so. All right, so I'm just gonna, basically what I'm doing is replacing the factory solder with my solder. Found when I do my own solder, when I wick it, it doesn't leave the pads all oxidized as much. Although oxidation is still a problem sometimes. Right, so next step is gonna wick the pads. Sweet. Appreciate all 3 of you who added some likes. There's 6 in total. Well, I appreciate all you 6. Everyone else, still waiting for you to smash that like button. That's right. Destroy it. All right. So just gonna. So I'm using these set of inverted tweezers from Art of Repair. So you know, they work great because the tips are ceramic, so it doesn't absorb the heat. It doesn't transfer, you know, up your hand. It just stays on the wick itself. So it makes things a little easier. You technically just use regular tweezers, but like these, then I don't have to worry about holding it. So, oops, I always forget that I'm out of view. All right, so there is one pad I will have to fix. So if you smash that like button, I get 10 likes, I will show you guys how I do that. If you don't, I'm still gonna show you because I gotta fix it anyway. I'm just trying to figure out a way to get you guys to like and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you can get notified when you go live or post a new video. All right, so let's see, we are 34 minutes in. Curious, so I did a bottom board swap on an iPhone 10 maybe a month or more ago, maybe 2 months ago. That video was 3.5 hours or so. So, but I feel like I went a lot slower on that one just because I wanted to describe each step, and it took forever. But in this video, I'm actually going through every single step too, so it's not like I prepared anything in advance. You know, I'm literally going through every step that I would go through regardless. I mean, if anything, I did prepare in that I have everything I need next to me, but I didn't do any other work on this besides maybe testing, which I don't know. All right, so I'm just going to, so I'm basically cleaning this with isopropyl alcohol. I'm using my little hand duster and blow away. So the alcohol like absorbs the flux, and then I use my little hand duster to kind of blow it away off the board, so that then it stays nice and clean. You don't. So I noticed a lot of new people, new to soldering, they'll like work on stuff and they'll flood the board with flux, and then they just never clean it. They just keep adding more and more. And you know, then it's like super hard to solder with. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do now is just check that pad. That pad is broken. So I'm gonna put my red probe on ground, which is like the screw hole. I'm gonna test that pad. So yeah, there's a reading there. So that means this is an actual pad that needs to be repaired. It's not a ground pad. So here, so this is my red probe here on the left. My right probe is the black one, and then I'm kind of trying to make contact with those exposed copper points. So yeah, that's this. So what I'm gonna do here is fix this pad. So one of the great things about the 10s, 10s Max, and newer models, even the 11s, is that the pads are little. They have like a lot of surface area here hidden under this layer of PCB, so you can scratch it out, and then you have like a surface to solder onto. We do have to be careful, only scratch within the 3 dots, because you don't want to scratch out the ground plane, and then when you try to solder to it, you're going to bridge the ground to the pad, and then you kind of screw it up. As you can see, I've kind of like digging out a little kind of triangle area here. Now I have basically a new pad. So what I'm gonna do here is actually add some flux, and I'm gonna solder to it. Found the easiest way. Well, first I'm gonna put a thing on the CPU just because I don't want to risk it. I'm gonna, wait a minute, there's like a solder ball right here. Oh, you know what? I'll use the solder ball. How about that? So I found a stray solder ball. I don't know where it came from, but I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna put my hot air to 365 and see if this works. The goal here is to get the solder ball to melt with that pad. And looks like it's in. So I'm gonna poke it. Yep. Solid on. I am going to see if I can shave off a little bit because it is a lot of solder. So with that, I basically have a new pad. So that was, you know, in this field, this like this I don't know what you call it. I guess field micro soldering. A lot of times you gotta just get creative and work with what you got. You know, that was just a coincidence. There was a random solder ball. I don't know where it came from, but now look at that. It's like if you don't even notice, the pad's missing. So, all right, cool. So basically, the top board is ready to go. So I'm gonna put this off to the side. You know what? Before I forget, I know this is my top board just because there hasn't been another top board near here. But before I go any further, I'm gonna label this just so I don't lose track, I guess. So what I'm gonna do is write on it. Let's see, customer's name. So I'll put the initials of the customer's name on the top board. Then put it on. This is the bottom board, customer's bottom board. So write on it as well. So this is the sandwich design. So there's a bottom board. So there's a touch connector, SIM tray, Wi-Fi baseband, NFCs on here. What else? Some other RF, you know, signal, baseband, cellular stuff. Right, and then the top board. This is the main CPU. CPU, you know, a bunch of other stuff. The NAND. Basically soldered together. It just this board, the bottom board, is broken. The top. So, let's see. So I'm gonna put this off to the side. Let's go back to this one. So this is my donor board. This is my same process. Remove the top layer. So I know this is my donor board. You know, I'm gonna put this off next to my pile of what do you call it? Of my graveyard here I have next to me that you guys can't see. Then I'm gonna remove all this thermal paste. Like I mentioned, it just becomes like sand and just gets everywhere and very difficult to deal with once you start soldering and adding flux and all that. So let me throw this away. Yo, what's up? I see Gianni has joined the chat. I see there's 20 viewers. That's pretty good for a Friday night at midnight, my time. For watching, let me know in the chat where you're watching from. What city or state, country are you in? I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City. City never sleeps. I don't know what else to call it. Just moved here. But so far, so good. Also, if you're watching, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you smash that like button. a great way to tell me that you enjoy the content I create. Also a great way to get me to make more videos. All right, so now we got to do the same step and take off baseband and Wi-Fi and basically throw those away. Oh, I see UK, West Covina, California, Indiana, USA. Awesome. Exactly. These repairs are supposed to stay here in Vegas, but they don't. They get live streamed to YouTube. All right, so I'm just gonna clean, once again, the underfill around this. Yeah, the strip is nice. We go there every once in a while. Whenever we have time. Or whenever someone from out of town is here. We of course gotta show them the strip. Although now we've been here since September of 2020, and we've been going less and less to the strip. When we first moved here, we'd go there probably every other weekend just to like grab something to eat or something. But recently, we've been going more to Red Rock Casino, which is like in Summerlin. It's like way off the strip, but I feel like that's where all the locals go to hang out. I feel like I'm becoming a local now. They have $2 frozen margaritas. They have a Lucille's Barbecue, Yard House. Like really new looking hotel, so that's nice. So if you're ever in Vegas, you want to go off the strip, check out the Red Rock Casino. They have a bunch of restaurants inside too. They used to have a buffet that was like $12 all you can eat, but because of the whole COVID thing, it's no longer open. So yeah. Everything else, all the other restaurants are open, and it's indoor dining, stuff like that. All right, so right now I'm just once again cleaning the inner fill around the chip so the chip can be removed without taking a bunch of stuff with it. See, Dwayne asks, could a crack between the boards cause an iPhone not powering on? I mean, depends. Where is it cracked? Probably. Do you mean like cracked housing, or the actual logic board is cracked in half? If it's cracked in half, then yeah, the phone's dead. I mean, there's disconnection between one part of the board to the other, and it's all interconnected, so Micro Repairs Ltd asks, has COVID affected your business at all? Actually, it has. you know, last year in March, once the whole lockdowns started happening, like my mail-in repair, like the amount of mail-in repairs I got, like doubled or tripled. So many people were sending me stuff, and the amount of iPads, like at one point I was getting like over half of the devices mailing in were iPads. Yeah, you know, people stuck at home, they need their iPads fixed, and they broke the charge ports or, you know, a bunch of problems. So have you been to Lotus of Siam or Chicago Joe's yet? No, I actually never heard of those places. I'll look it up. All right, almost done here. All right, so this chip here got like chipped, so to speak, no pun intended, but it's just a cosmetic thing at the top layer. It shouldn't affect anything. All right, so now to pop these off. Well, go up to 400. You know what? I'm just gonna start off with Wi-Fi first. So same process, heat up the chip, and then kind of come in here from this side and use some leverage off this cap to kind of help me push off of it and apply upward pressure. There it goes. Just popped right off. But you got to do it. Oh, it's stuck. When you do that, you got to make sure you're very gentle as far as the amount of pressure you apply. Because if you're too rough, you will rip pads. So you will like bring up part of the surface up with the board, and then you'll have a bad board. All right, so now I'm going with baseband. Let me get it in the center. And go from this side. Oh, look, it's already off. Look at that. Came right off. All right, so this is bad. Or not bad, it's not useful. So now, time to clean up these pads. All right, so first I'm gonna use some tweezers with the little thicker tips. I'm just gonna try to pick off some of this. Basically the underfill that was left behind. You do need to clean that off. Make sure it's not in your way. I need some hot air to help me out. Some of this stuff is a little too strong. So I'm gonna go to about 250. Essentially, I'm just gonna clear this stuff out. So this is the donor board. This is the one I'm going to be using to swap everything onto. So I do have to prep it. In essence, clean it all up. Like literally prepare it for the transplant. Might need my blade here. This stuff on this corner does not. There it goes. I was having a hard time getting under this. All right, should be good. So Dwayne, it's kind of hard to say what the issue is. If you're not familiar with diagnosing logic boards, then it's, you might not be able to figure it out. You're looking to learn how to diagnose logic board issues, then you might want to consider the course I teach in. We teach you through all this stuff. It's a 90-day program. It's all virtual, online. It's interactive. There's a training portal that you have access to, lifetime access to. You get 90 days access to basically us with the coaches as far as how to solder and all that. But the training portal, which constantly gets updated, you have full lifetime access to that. Actually, Gianni here in the chat is part of the course, so I'm sure he could give you some feedback in the perspective of a student. If you like, Gianni, I don't know. All right, so just going around, cleaning up surface. Now the pads for the baseband are very brittle, meaning any rough, if you're too rough, you can break the pads and then you're kind of screwed. Be careful. Now this whole repair, actually it is a pretty advanced repair. So if you haven't mastered the basics with soldering, reballing, jumpers, stuff like that, placing ICs, I definitely don't recommend you attempt this because you basically end up having to buy your customer a new phone. You can permanently kill the phone. Maybe not kill the phone, but kill, baseband or whatever. Also, if you damage it trying to fix it and then you want to send it to me, most likely I'll decline it because who knows what you did, and don't think I will, rescue you. Lotus of Siam. Thai food. I don't think I've had much Thai food. It's not like a type of food I go and seek out. Usually whenever I eat Thai food is because someone else invited me to go have it. For whatever reason, it's never on the top of my list of type of food that I decide to go get. I try not to eat out as much, like fast food or restaurants. So when I do, I'm kind of picky. I want to eat, the thing that I've been wanting to eat. So since Thai food is not on top of my list, it never go there. If that makes sense. All right, so basically I'm just running my iron over all the pads. I'm using Amtech 559. Check out the link in my description. I do have a list of pretty much every single tool I use. If it's not there, just let me know, I'll add it. bccboardrepairs.com/gear. Gear, gear. It's in the description. Alright, so same thing here. I'm just running over all the pads with some solder. There's a lot of tedious work, but it has to be done. All right, so let me do this. So you can see there's a bunch of nasty stuff on here. So what I'm doing is putting some isopropyl alcohol on my Q-tip. I'm going to try to clean it. All right, you can see my Q-tip is all black. So you gotta soak it, because otherwise their Q-tips, like fibers, get stuck on stuff, and then yeah. So this Q-tip is done. Let me grab another one. What components are, so Roger asked, what components are in a mobile phone? I just now learning what's a MOSFET. All right, so there's ICs, which are integrated circuits. There's resistors, capacitors, filters, bunch of transistors, coils, diodes. What else? I don't know. I think that's it. All right, so I cleaned as best I can, best I could. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is actually wick the pads. I'm gonna add some more flux again. Oh, we've gone up to 7 likes. So whoever liked the video, thank you. Whoever hasn't liked the video, do me a favor and go ahead and like it. It costs you nothing, but it helps out a lot. So just take the 3 seconds to push on that little hand that has the thumbs up. So use your finger to click that button. All right, so what I'm doing is with hot air, I'm heating up the wick, which then sucks up the solder. Sweet, we're up to 8. Can we get to 10? That's my real question. So let me know in the chat, have you guys ever used this method as far as wicking, where you use hot air to suck up the solder? 16 viewers, wow. I'm going to assume most of the viewers are not in the US. I feel like most of the US is asleep by now. It's 12:39. But I'm a night owl. I've stayed up late pretty much my whole life. So if anything, I like working at night because a lot less distractions. But it does require some discipline because, you know, since you're by yourself, everyone's asleep. You know, if you're not focused on doing what you need to do, it's so easy to just get distracted with no one to kind of snap you out of it, you know, and get back on track. Like right now, I would have like 0 people texting me like asking for quotes or asking about an issue or whatever. So I'm not like usually like right now I'm just like back to back, just doing repair after repair, just focusing. But I wanted to make this video just because so many people been asking about like how to do a bottom board swap. So I have one here. It looks like a good candidate. So here we are. All right, so there's some underfill here, which will get in the way of the chip. I'm going to try to clear it out. There it goes. Let's see. A little random piece of solder here. Alright guys, I would say we're maybe like halfway done with this repair. We're at 1 hour, so maybe I'll beat my old record as far as turnaround for this repair on YouTube. I mean, if I wasn't on YouTube, I would have probably been done sooner just because I don't have to describe anything. I can just work. Alright, so I'm gonna do the same thing here for these pads. So I keep clipping off the tip of the wick just so I always have fresh wick to work with. I'm gonna raise the temperature a little bit because I was noticing the pads weren't melting. Let's see, let me get you guys in focus. My preheater set to on. This preheater has no temperature, just on or off. So the mechanic preheater, so it is what it is. Go figure. All right, so by the way, this is a lot easier when you're wicking this way. It's a lot easier when you're dealing with pads that are very brittle or fragile, because it's a very you basically can't damage them. Assuming you're doing the right technique, you can't damage the pads. You see there's still a lot of underfill here. Now if you try to wick with an iron, then there's a very high chance you're gonna pull a bunch of pads in that process if you don't like time it right, I guess. So Roger asks if I have a laser machine for back glass repair, and I do not. I like literally only solder. I don't do screen repairs. I don't do back glass. I don't do carrier unlocks. I don't sell phones. I just micro solder and data recovery, which is a subsection of micro soldering. Just a more higher level micro soldering. So, need any micro soldering repairs? Let me know. Send me a message on my website, vccboardrepairs.com. If you need data recovery for like a water damaged phone, no power, I do those as well. All right. So Dwayne asks, so are there pads that are non-existent on that baseband socket? I don't understand the question. Do you mean any pads that are not needed? There's a lot of pads that are NC, but they're called NC, not connected. They're just kind of decoration, I like to say. So I'm basically trying to clean as much as I can so I could know what else needs some work. So there's some underfill still here. Let me clean that off. There's still some here, so I'm just being real gentle with my tweezers, just rubbing lightly, and it's picking up all the like this thin layer of underfill, which is like a rubbery kind of like glue, but like rubbery kind of texture. I'm not pushing down, I'm just like rubbing on top of the board. All right, so yeah, if you see there's a bunch of brown circles, those are where pads used to be, but the fact that they came up so easy means they're probably NC. Just in my experience, they're just like, they're so brittle. They're basically just, they're not being held down by anything, so they just pop right off. You know, after years of soldering, I can kind of recognize right away if it's an important pad or if it's NC. And I know these are NC just because you literally don't see anything. They're just like empty cavities. There's no connection that was severed. So there's a little more here. A lot more. All right, cool. I think that's all of it. Ish. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do, now that I think of it, I'm definitely not halfway. Now I gotta, I see some dirt here. I want to make sure I have a really clean surface so there's no obstructions or no, I don't have to redo anything because I was lazy or sloppy. Usually when I'm lazy or sloppy is when things don't go smoothly and then I have to redo everything, which kills a bunch of time. So see, there's 12 viewers, so it looks like some of you guys are dropping off. Can hang, can last 2-3 hours is gonna take. All right, so now I'm gonna prep the bottom board, the interposer, which is the outside layer here. So I gotta add some flux, and then I'm going to, you know, one time I reballed this over the existing solder, but I don't feel like taking shortcuts right now. So what I'm gonna do is just run my iron over all the pads and basically replace the existing solder. So just feed iron. You want to be careful not to get it on the gold part, because then it kind of spills over the edge of the board and it just looks nasty. I just did it. But I mean, it honestly is not gonna cause any problems if you do, but better to do clean work than be lazy or sloppy. So I'm just using the tip of my iron to hit all the pads without touching the gold outer outline, so to speak. I don't know how to describe it. The border. Let me put my iron. So I started over here, so then we'll kind of work my way. I think I got everything. All right, so next step is to wick all this as well. Now, there's so many steps to this repair, but I do charge $225 for bottom board swap to repair shops and $250 for end users. Actually, I haven't had any end users request this, but I'm thinking like $250, maybe $275. Man, this takes forever. Also, you know, there's cost to this repair. I do have to buy a donor board. Usually people sell them for, you know, 25 to 45 depending on the seller. And you know, sometimes I can't find a good donor board, so I have to pay a premium like 45. So, you know, and you're not just paying for the labor, but also the skill in this repair. So sure, I can maybe do it in 2 hours if I just get straight at it, but 2 hours, I'm able to do it in 2 hours because of I spent maybe, you know, 40 hours mastering this repair, so, or 100 hours. All right, so I'm just gonna clean this up with the Q-tip. Oh, I got a bunch of fiber stuck there. What is the quickest repair time you can do in this? In what? In just micro soldering in general? Or in a sandwich board? Or can you give me some examples? Right, so all the pads look clean. They're all nice and shiny and silver. This is what you want to see. Silver. Oh no! Look at that. There's the dreaded thermal paste. That's right. No, you can't fix iCloud with any kind of soldering. That's a Apple server thing. So the phone checks in with Apple when you're trying to activate it. No chip on the phone is gonna stop that from happening. You can, some models you could bypass iCloud with the jailbreak, but that's has nothing to do with soldering. Bottom board swap or CPU swap. There's a few different quote unquote board swaps. Roger. By the way, I forget, most people aren't going to see the chat, so Roger asked, basically asked, what's the quickest repair you can do in this? I'm not sure what he means, so he said board swap. I still don't know what he means. what kind of board swap are we talking about? Oh, there's some more underfill here. All right, so I'm just gonna, some of these pads are oxidized, which means there's like a layer of oxidation and they look gray. So if you use your blade, you can scratch off that top layer and kind of expose it, which makes it easier to solder. I'm just cleaning that up just because increase my chances of, well, actually decrease my chances of issues and increase my chances of successful repair. So I'm doing that now. All right, I think this is pretty good, I would say. Oh no, look at that. So this is what oxidation looks like. It was like gray. I just use my blade like this and I go sideways to scratch off that top layer and expose the silver part, which is the part that gets soldered. In general, bottom board swaps take me about 2 hours. And usually I don't do it one straight shot. I'll do like a few steps. I do it like across 2 days, maybe 2 or 3 days. Or like I'll do separate the sandwich, prep the boards, prep the pads on the sandwich, and then leave it, and then come back the next day, you know, reball the ICs and I try to spread it out across multiple days. But here I'm going just, you know, full throttle all the way to the end. So I'm basically gonna scratch off this top layer, all the pads. No, I don't do CPU swaps. I think in most cases, most people, you don't need to learn that. You know, I've been soldering for, geez, I think this July will be 4 years, and I've never had to do a CPU swap. I had maybe a few cases where a customer was willing to pay, but those I just outsourced. I feel like my time is better served making money rather than practicing a job that I'll unlikely get. But I mean, it will be useful to learn it eventually, but it's just not a priority not a priority for me. All right, all the pads seem to have cleaned up most of the pads here. All right, so now next step is I need a cable. It's over here. And I'm going to, so this is a customer's board. I am going to plug this in. right, so what we're gonna do now is do a read and write of the EEPROM data. So I'm gonna power this to USB-C and turn it on. Have the 10S, 10S Max EEPROM module. What we're gonna do here is, so this is my donor, the green dot with the words DNR all over. This is my customer board. This is the one with the broken bottom board. You guys see that? I actually broke it more. Doesn't matter because the junk board anyway. So what I gotta do is read. Let's see. So here it is. It says 10S Max baseband. So what I'm gonna do is put this in that slot. All right. So let me rotate this. You can see detected base, whatever that means. You know, I'm gonna push read complete. I'm gonna do it. I like to do it a few times just to make sure. Read complete. So now I have read this EEPROM, and then I'm gonna take this board out, put my new bottom board. Then I detected the new bottom board. Now I'm gonna push burn. Yes, overwrites. Right, I'm gonna do it twice. So burn, continue, right, complete. So now I have transferred EEPROM data from here to this board. Now I can continue with the job. Uh-oh, this is kind of stuck. I want to be careful not to break it. You know what? Let me use my tool. Because all the flux gets sticky. Uh-oh, there it goes. All right, cool. Cut it out. It's just these little posts that get stuck. All right, so this is my new bottom board. It's programmed, pretty much ready to go. But let's go ahead and test it. So this is my eye socket made by Chanli. I don't know how to pronounce it. What to do is you place the bottom board in here. You place the interposer adapter. You place the customer's top board on here. Then there's a little extension cable for touch. So you plug this in. So this is what it looks like. The little cable here, and then I'm going to feed this cable through here. Then snap it into place. All right, so now the sandwich is temporarily connected together. I have a screen here. Plug in the screen. I'm going to plug in this screen. I'm going to get my charging port. Then I have a battery here. This is an iPhone 10 battery, but also works with 10s Max. Same connector, so this is all just for testing. And then what I'm gonna do is plug in the charger, make sure everything is working. Let me get the cable. It's all tangled. Let me adjust this. So I'll plug in the charger. So you can see here, in the top left corner, it is charging at 0.94 amps, which is pretty good. Let's see what happens. Meanwhile, let me check the pin code for this phone. I don't know if I have it. Oh, I do. Okay. So, let's see if there's touch. There is touch. It is 6. Alright, so this phone is going to kick me into the swipe up to recover. So I'll just go ahead and assume this is good. I'll explain that later. Basically, the NFC mismatch issue. It does have to kind of rewrite the NFC chip in this process, but we saw touch was working. That's the main one of the goals here, is to fix touch. Came in for no touch, so I'm just gonna go ahead and proceed with the repair. I would say there's things look good so far. All right, so let me move all this stuff out of the way. Roger asks, you're proficient in newer models as well? Yes, I touched one iPhone 12 so far, but iPhone 11 series, 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, I can definitely fix those. Oh, this belongs here. All right, we got 14 viewers. So if you're just joining us, I am doing a bottom board swap, and would appreciate if you could smash that like button and help out the channel. It lets me know that you're enjoying content I am creating. All right, so now let's go with the reball process. So this chip has a lot of underfill. So let me use this to in case you don't know what smashing the like button means, maybe it's a language barrier, click the like button, the thumbs up. That'd be awesome. All right, so this is the baseband chip. I have it on my iPinch jig, which makes it so much easier to work on. So first, let me start off by just trying to run my iron over it. See what happens. It's gonna be hard to touch most of these pads just because the underfill. So one thing to keep in mind is these pads, the surface of this chip is very fragile, so it's easy to scrape out the top layer and then destroy the chip. So if you're new to this, keep this in mind. Don't rub it too hard. You can destroy the chip. I've seen some horror stories of dudes who try to do one of these jobs and they just destroyed the baseband. They just like scraped off the whole top layer, and then they try to mask it, and it's just a disaster. All right, so let's go ahead and go to lower temp, maybe like 240 to 50-ish. I'm gonna use my blade to try to pick out this underfill. Alright, so I'm just gonna gently scrape. Get all this black underfill off. All right, so as far as steps that are left, let's see, we're at 1:35, 1 hour and 35 minutes. I'm trying to think what else do I need to do? Gotta reball the two chips, we gotta place them, we gotta reball the sandwich, we gotta sandwich it together, and then, yeah, then we gotta go through that stupid swipe up to recover, which is gonna take forever. I mean, I might just swap over the NFC chip. I have to skip that step. You know what? Maybe I could. I'll leave that to the end. Dwayne asked, "What is the underfill good for?" That is a good question, and I don't know the answer. I think they use it for kind of like shock absorbing. Also add some level of water resistance in case water does enter the board, and it can't, since the surface is sealed. Basically, you the water has no way to destroy the chip itself, since it can't get to these pads. But I don't know. I don't work at a factory, at the iPhone factory, so I can't say for sure why or what. All right, so this is pretty clean. Let me clean off the sides too. So use this dirty towel here. So the sides also has a layer of underfill, which I'm going to use my blade to kind of scrape it away. Just gotta be gentle. I think I got a lot of it. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is there's a bunch of oxidized pads. So one of the issues is all those pads that are gray, it's like impossible to solder onto, just because there's like a layer blocking the chip, the pads from the solder. So there's a trick to do this, to clean this. What you do is you put a blob of flux. You get some solder paste. I use 183 solder. And then I use my blade here to apply a layer here. So this is solder paste. So it's basically little solder balls suspended in paste. This is like reballing paste, basically. And then no, you can't really use a fiberglass pen to clean it because the the fiberglass will also scratch off the top layer. So the trick is you get a CPU which has a bunch of pads. You face it down, and then let's see, put your hot air. Essentially, this is going to melt the solder paste, and kind of like you know, like that soap that has like little micro bubbles, or like exfoliating. So you do this, and that kind of scrubs all the pads. Let me just clean all this up. There's a bunch of solder balls here, so let me throw them away. So let me clean this one more time. As you can see, all the pads now, oxidation is gone, basically. See, it's like perfect. Now you gotta reball it, which I'll do in 1 second. Appreciate all you guys sticking around. We're at 1 hour and 42 minutes. You know, this channel would be no fun without you guys chiming in and commenting. So otherwise it'd just be me talking to myself. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is reball this chip. What stencil did I use? This is an A12. So I have an A12 stencil that I'm gonna use. Actually, let me wick this chip. So I want the pads all flat so I could get the best placement on the stencil. So what I'm gonna do here is just run my iron over it. Let me scoop this up. Just gently going over all the pads. All right. That looks good. Drop some ISO, and use my same little clean cloth to wipe it down. Now you can see it's super clean, super flat. There's some trash here, which I got off with my blade. All right, so now I gotta place the stencil. And there you have it. You gotta make sure you're lined up. Even though the stencil is like a 3D stencil, it can still be crooked, so make sure you are not crooked. And all the I don't see no debris or any kind of trash. Let me adjust this one more time. Alright, so I already have some paste here from before. I hope it's enough. Is there a trick to replace pull pads? Asked Michael. What pads, on a chip or on the board? Can you describe the situation you're in? Assuming. So I'm applying the paste and scraping it away and reapplying. The goal is to fill in all the little cavities, the little slots for each pad, and then kind of pack it in there so you can form a solder ball out of it. Now that I've done that, I'm going to use my tweezers here to hold it down. All right, so I'm going to now reball the chip by applying some hot air, going in circles. You can see some of the flux is kind of bubbling up. Now I'm gonna just hit it with this corner. Just wait it out. All right. Meanwhile, let me read some questions. What soldering iron do I have? I use a Hackle FM203 with a FM 2027 iron, a 2032 micro pencil iron, and BC1 tip for the large iron, and a J tip for the small iron micro pencil. Right, and that is reballed. So to fix, so Michael asked how to fix a trick to replace a pulled pad from the board. Yeah, you have to run a jumper. So you have to reconnect the severed connection. So in some cases, is a wire that goes out. It's basically the trace you have to rebuild. Sometimes that trace goes through the layers of the board and more difficult. So it depends on your unique situation. So I'm gonna hit this with some hot air to kind of loosen it because it's currently stuck. So I'm just kind of poking it through here. And there goes. All right, let's take a look. And yeah, I could do the sandwich myself, although it's 1:23 a.m. Probably not a good idea to eat this late. I'm going to clean my stencil. All right, so my goal right now is to finish by 2 a.m., which is about 35 minutes. I think I can do it. All right, so I'm just inspecting the stencil, make sure no obvious dirtiness. All right, this should be good. Put this off to the side. Let's inspect the chip. The baseband CPU. There's some lint here. Let me get rid of that. Get some isopropyl alcohol. All right, so far so good. And this is a good reball. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this reball? See, there's 13 viewers, so I want all 13. I want to see 13 replies. How would you rate this reball from 1 to 10? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, 0 mean you weren't paying attention. Let's hear that feedback. Was this the best reball? The worst reball? What is a reball? Hey, E-Digits Com IT Solutions. Yes. Well, it said this man is brilliant. How much is the course? I am just the solder coach, so I don't know the pricing. But if you want to learn more, you can go to the link in the description. You do have to set up a call with Ben, who handles all the new students, and he does like to talk to every single student on the phone, so he could get a feel of we do want to get people who are motivated and good fit for our program. I know that, so definitely tell them I sent you, that you saw my video. So if you look, let's see, maybe I show. Anyways, that looks pretty good. I see. All right, 15 viewers, and I have 2 votes so far, and 2 votes of 10. I want to hear everybody else's feedback. Would you agree this is a 10? This is a 5? This is a 1? This is a 0? Negative 10? Positive 10? I'm just counting time, guys. I really don't care. Just filling in some airtime, so to speak. But thanks we appreciate you guys' support. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video. It really helps out the channel. Also, if you subscribe, that'd be awesome. I did recently hit 1,000 subscribers, so I'm very excited about that. I do have a to-do list as far as the next video, so all right, so this baseband's good. All right, so basically I gotta do the exact same thing for this Wi-Fi chip. Once again, appreciate you guys for the positive feedback. All right, so this one doesn't look as oxidized, so I'm just gonna try to run over it with my iron and see how that goes. I see some viewers dropped. I wonder if I was being too needy, asking for likes and subscribes. If you watch any YouTube channel, that's what everyone says the same thing: likes, comment, subscribe. It's just part of the job. It works. Sometimes people forget. You watch a whole video, you're enjoying it, and then it finishes. You're like, oh crap! I never, supported the channel by liking it. So, gotta constantly remind everyone, like and subscribe. All right, so I'm just gonna run over my iron one more time. I think this one doesn't have oxidized pads, so I can just wick it and then go straight to the reball in. Curious, who here watching this video has seen my other bottom board swap video for the iPhone 10, iPhone X, where I did, it also had a bad bottom board. Yeah, so if you're gonna, you know, if you're in the, sorry, if you're interested in learning, you will have to buy the equipment. We do have a, tool list, recommended tools. One thing, you kind of have to keep an eye out is sometimes some places sell like, starter kits. A lot of times they bundle in stuff you don't need. So, kind of just stuff they have in inventory that they think like, oh, maybe I can just offload it, in these kits. But yeah, if you buy it individually, you'll probably get a better deal buying stuff you need versus buying just a kit, one bundle, and then having a bunch of stuff you don't need. Just my personal experience or observation. Let me see actually. So in the chat, I'm going to put the recommended tools, which is my list of tools I use. So these are all tools I personally use, not just random tools. Like the microscope is a Parco microscope. It is much better price point than AmScope, even though it's the exact same scope and quality. A lot of AmScope basically charges a lot because they have the name brand recognition. So, but they basically come from the same factory. So if you don't have a microscope yet, definitely get the Parco. It's linked in my site. I know the owner pretty well, Isaac Young. He's I'm pretty sure he'll hook you up if you say it came from me, if I referred you. I know he's thrown in a few accessories for free for some of the people I've sent to him. So irons, I have a Hacko system. Hot air, I use a quick 861DW. I have heard the add-in hot air station is pretty good, and it's like, I think it's like $100 more cheaper than the quick. So if you have a tighter budget, you can go with that. I mean, what are the other main tools? I mean, I use a Fluke 115 multimeter. A PPD 120 preheater. I have like so much stuff here, like thousands of dollars in equipment. All right, so I'm just gonna basically doing the same process, heating the board, just staying here at one corner. Look at that! Isn't that so oddly satisfying to watch just the solder balls forming? So mesmerizing. All right, enough of that. The heat board, the preheater. Yeah, I mean the preheater is not required. I like to use it. It is kind of a nice. I would consider it's a nice to have, but I mean I was using no preheater for at least 2 years before I got mine. When I first started, there was no such thing as a preheater anyway, so. All right, so Wi-Fi is rebulbed. Yeah, preheater is not required. In the course, so we have a training portal. Basically, it's a kind of like a step-by-step, like portal that you log into and you follow each section, kind of, go from 0 to 100 basically. And all that, it doesn't cover the preheater because you don't really need it. And if you can master soldering without it, then you're golden. You're not gonna need it, but it is a nice to have. All right, so this is my Wi-Fi reball. What are you guys? You guys want to vote again, or I can just move on because I got so much more to do. All right, so I'm pretty much ready to go. All right, so I am going to, so I already have this programmed. I already copied it over the Eeprom data. I'm just gonna go ahead and place the chips on the board. So put the board on the bottom heater. All right, so this heater is a required it's a required thing for sandwich boards. And yeah, as far as we get so many objections to online training because the physical guidance versus online. And honestly, there is some trade-offs in that we can't physically be there and kind of like make those minor adjustments. But think about it, most of the in-person courses are like 3 to 5 days, and a lot of stuff you cannot learn in 3 to 5 days. Like, it's just so much, there's just so many different aspects to it that it's like impossible to learn everything in 3 to 5 days. And the course that I teach in, it is a 90-day course basically. The training portal is lifetime, but the online interactive like Zoom calls that we have, those are 90-day access. And we have like a worksheet that you work off of where you track your progress. We give you exercises. Hey, do this and that. That way we could monitor your progress and everything. So not just like this is how you do a repair and then that's it. Because a lot of those courses, in-person courses, is you'll show up. If you don't learn in those 5 days, and then you're gone, you're back at your shop, and then you're like, what just happened? You basically lose support after you leave. Like, there's no ongoing support or training or guidance. So something to consider. This is a 90-day course, and we push you. Like, we have weekly goals we set up. We follow up with you like, hey, are you meeting your goals? Like, you said you were gonna practice audio IC. Like, did you practice it? How did it go? What are the troubles you're having? So something to consider, because we want you to be successful, and if you're not successful, then it doesn't help us in the training world. So the more students we have that are successful, the more the more students we'll get, because they'll see the success that are coming from the course. That's one of the benefits to our course versus the others, is 90 days of basically hand-holding the whole process, and we give you like a step-by-step of what to learn first, like the fundamentals, and then we have repair guides, like common repairs like audio IC, touch IC, like like the whole process, step-by-step document. The other courses, they don't give you any kind of documentation or anything, any support. Just like you basically have to learn everything. You have to memorize everything, and then that's it. And then you have to go back to your shop. Especially if you like traveled somewhere, you're now back, 1,000 miles away, and you like totally forgot, very specific details. We actually have a lot of students who've been to other courses and then ended up with ours because they just can't retain all the information. So, but yeah, enough of that. So one of the things I'm doing right now actually is, let me minimize this, is placing the IC based on this. So pin 1 is up here. So I gotta place the Wi-Fi chip with the dot on this corner. On baseband, pin 1 is down here. So I gotta put the dot of the chip on this side. So it's that's what I was looking at while I was ranting about the course. All right, so there's a dot over here that you can't see because it's a flux, but so regarding the course, there's lifetime access to the training portal, and I don't know. I think there is gonna be packages for like if you want to stay on with the program, like have access to Zoom calls and all that. There is there's gonna be, if you want to pay to stay on, there is gonna be like a discounted rate for that. But there will be a group, like a Facebook group, if you want to still keep in contact with us and need some help, because there is lots of value to that, because as time goes on, there's newer models, there's newer issues. So let me get some water. So as far as placing the IC, there's actually like a visual cue where you see the chip kind of snap into place, and you could gently bump it just to see if it's placed, basically. So that's kind of what I did there. You might have missed it because I was talking about the course. It just, like for me, it's kind of hard to, there's like so many benefits to the course I'm in, that I teach in, versus the traditional courses most people are aware of. It's kind of hard to put it all in words for people to understand like how big of a difference. There's basically nothing like it, and that's kind of why I joined the course. I was thinking of making my own. My friend, Ben, was working on this course, and once he described like the vision of it, I was like, you know what? Let's team up. Well, he invited me to team up, and I'm like, you know what? You got a legit system here, so let's do it. So there I am. I am now the lead solder coach. I've been soldering for many years, and I get maybe 2 to 3 people a week asking me if I teach, and before I had to say no. Now I can say yes, I can teach. I got the course, the Pro Fixer, repair shop accelerator course. Also, one of the things is on that same course, we have what is called the workflow part of the course, where we teach you how to, not just how to solder, but how to, you know, offer the service as a profitable service. So many shops know how to solder, but they really don't know how to make it a, you know, a profitable service. Like either undercharge, or they do things weird where like they waste a lot of time, and you know, or they don't set up proper expectations, or don't know how to train their employees to help with the whole process. There's just so much. Great. So if you're interested, either check out the link in the description for the course, or go to my website and send the contact us. I will then, you know, connect you with Ben, who can then set up a call with you and talk over the whole program and see if it's a good fit. Cool. So now I'm going to do a quick test. I'm going to check to see if let's see. What time is it? 1:46. Crap. I have this cable here. All right, everything's lined up. Snap this into place. I need to snap this cable into place first. Feed this cable through this opening. All right, so just like before, I'm going to plug in a charging port, a screen, and battery. Make sure it still turns on, there's still touch. Also, I'm gonna check for the baseband issue. I'm gonna see if I get any kind of baseband errors after boot up. So let me plug this in. Take a look at the corner where it says I have 1 amp USB charging. And look at that, it actually is working. It's kind of hard to see, but it says here, no SIM card installed. That tells me baseband is working. That means baseband transfer was successful. The sandwich is good, everything. So now he's got to solder the 2 sandwich layers together, and it'll be good to go. Well, no, it won't be good to go because it's gonna have to go through, I'm gonna word it as pairing the NFC chip back again, because the NFC is a chip that contains data regarding the pin code. So if it detects a different NFC than the original that it used to connect with the pin code, then you'll get this screen that says swipe up to recover, and then it has to go through this thing that says attempting data recovery, which is kind of misleading because it's not recovering data. But anyways, let me get I forgot to mention this. And E-Digits Com IT Solutions. So you need to go. So take it easy. Have a great day. But I gotta finish this bottom board swap. So this is a reballing jig. It is basically designed to make it super easy to reball this sandwich. I know a lot of people struggle with this. So I have, by the way, this is from Kionli as well. They have some of the best tools in the micro soldering world. So this is the 10S Max, and it just snaps into place. It's magnetic, so that's why that happens. And then you gotta use some reballing. This is special solder paste. It is I guess made by Geelong solder paste. It is, I believe it is 138. I mean, it doesn't say what temperature it is, but it says special for basic sandwich boards. I've been using this for years now. Oh crap, almost dropped the lid. All right, so put this out to the side, make some room here. All right, so here's how I do this. So I get a spatula tool, I scoop up some paste, and then I have another spatula tool. So this one's aluminum, this one's metal. So the magnets on here kind of screw you up if you try to use a metal tool. So you gotta, so what I do is I apply the paste here like this. Okay, put this off to the side. So I have the paste like this. I'm gonna go and apply it like this. So let's go back to the microscope. And no, this is not the longest video. The original iPhone 10 bottom board swap video was like 3.5 hours. So, all right, so see all the little shiny silver pads? I'm gonna have to cover it with some solder paste, but there's a little piece of lint there. So I always like to start here, just because my tool is clean and I could easily apply paste in this little tight space. You don't want the paste to go in between the gap and like kind of fall in. So what I'm gonna do is kind of go like this and then just push down, swipe or wipe, I don't know how you want to word it. And I'm gonna come back, kind of scrape up the excess solder paste. So you see some solder paste got here in between. So I'll clean that up after. I'll just come back to it. Now just do the same thing. Just apply solder paste, and come back and kind of scoop it up. All right. Basically the goal here is just like any other reballing job where you want to fill in the cavities with, I don't know, is cavity a good word? Basically just fill in the paste here so you could reball it. Basically the goal is to fill in with the same volume, so when you do reball, all the pads are going to be the same shape and size, or same size. All right, so just going through and just making sure I got this covered real good. So these are ground pads, they don't really matter, but just want to show you the actual process. All right, so this is solder paste. This is to reball the two layers back together. All right, so I pretty much got it all. So I'll put this off to the side. I'm going to try to scoop up some of this solder paste so I don't create balls of solder down there. I think I got it. So you can see there used to be like a filling of solder paste. You kind of see some here. All right, so next is actually a pretty important step. You get a clean cloth, find the spot that is clean. This one's kind of old, so this corner here that looks pretty clean. So what I'm gonna do is wipe away kind of like the top layer. You guys see that? I'm just gonna rub across. Basically, this helps compact the solder paste into the stencil, and it also helps dry it out a little bit. Sometimes the solder paste is a little, the moisture content is pretty high, so like everything bubbles. So now that I have the solder paste applied, I'm gonna put this half of the jig on top. So now I have like this thing on top kind of holding the stencil down. Then when I come to reball it, it'll, like any kind of warping that the heat makes the metal, with when you hit it with high heat, it will warp. So this stencil kind of created this effect where it holds it down around the edges. So my goal here is to just heat it up. So I just go in circles until the solder balls start forming. So I'm just gonna go in circles, following the perimeter. Oh, by the way, I do have t-shirts for sale on my Teespring site. So if you check out the link in the description, teespring.com/VCC-merch, you can get a t-shirt like what I'm wearing, get a hoodie or a coffee mug. And it'd be awesome if you would pick up some of this merch. It represents, VCC board repairs. All right, so you can see the solder balls are forming. Oh man, we've dropped to 9 viewers, so that means we're in the single digits. Everyone's falling asleep. Either everyone's falling asleep or, I don't know. So let's see, it's basically 2 a.m. now here in Las Vegas. So 2, 3, 4, basically 5 a.m. in the East Coast. There's gonna be a lot of people waking up soon. So 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5 a.m. By the way, if you're I also have a Facebook group for micro soldering called Micro Soldering for Beginners. Created it about maybe 2 years ago now, where I don't know, I saw the other groups were kind of being very hostile towards newbies, asking what some would consider dumb questions. So I decided to make my own group where we encourage asking dumb questions. There's only only a dumb question. The only dumb question is the one you're not asking. So, although, you know, I'm human, so I sometimes jump to a conclusion and say it's a dumb question. But I say that internally and don't tell you. I'll just try to answer if it's a genuine question, you know. Alright, so I think I got all the solder balls down. You see there's like a solder ball in every little pockets. Alright, so I'm going to separate this. Separate the stencil. I'm going to clean some of this because it's alright. For the 9 of you who are still here, you guys are the real MVPs. I wanted to make this video so much earlier. It just I had so much to do here at home that then it took me a while to figure out a thumbnail for this. So we'll see. I think the thumbnail plays a big role as to whether or not someone clicks on the video. So I always try to put in a good effort in making it creative or stand out. And I know a lot of people like sandwiches, and this is a sandwich board. So what better way to lure some views with some food? All right, so I'm just cleaning up. So in this whole process of reballing the sandwich, there's a lot of like flux and stray solder specks everywhere. So I'm just kind of cleaning that up. And we're almost done, guys, so be patient. We'll get there any second now. So what I like to do here is place the board on the heater, run some flux over the board, and then take it off the heat. Basically, I'm like kind of cleaning up the reball so it's like nice and even, some clean flux. And it also melts any kind of that stray solder, like specks of random solder pieces. Kind of just get left behind, like solder dust. Kind of just appears. You kind of see it around each pad. There's like little specks of stuff. So yeah, I'm really just trying to hurry this up. It's 2 a.m. Trying to remember, do I need to wake up early tomorrow? I don't know. So, by the way, how does my audio sound? I got a new microphone recently. All right. Ooh, 7 viewers. People are dropping like flies. I mean, honestly, who watches a live stream? I don't blame people for not watching the whole thing. And so preheater's on. I'm basically just waiting for the solder to melt. And on this specific repair, there's a lot of waiting. So, oh, here it goes. You guys see that? Drop some fire emojis in the chats or in the comments if you can see how the solder is forming. The solder balls are changing state from solid to liquid. I could watch this all day. It's amazing. Sweet, 6 viewers. All right, so almost there. Notice a lot of lint here, so I'm gonna have to clean that up. All right. Let's turn this off. Take out the board. By the way, this whole sandwich job, I kind of just this whole process, I kind of figured out the best process for this, just because there's no real tutorial on this. So I don't know anybody else who's made a YouTube video on a bottom board swap. Could be the first one. At least a video where they describe all the steps. I see a lot of videos on YouTube where people are doing like repairs, but it's just the video, and they'll have like either music or just no sound, and you don't know like what the hell they're doing or what temperatures or why they're doing certain things. I try to describe as much as I can what I'm doing, so it's, you know, actually useful. So, you know. So here you have it. Bottom board is finally ready. So every pad here is a little solder ball. So this will solder onto the top layer of the other. Yeah, see that? So this is going to solder to the other half and make the interconnections between the two layers. Two hours and 33 minutes. All right, so last step. You know what? While I wait for that to warm up, so I had my friend texting me. I guess he was watching the whole time. I didn't even know it. I had a bunch of messages. Not resuscitate. All right, I'm doing a live stream for a 10s Max bottom board swap. I'm pretty much done. Here I am on YouTube. We are 2 hours and 34 minutes in. Doing a live stream for a. All right, so We're doing a live stream for a 10S Max motherboard swap. So I'm pretty much done. Here we are on YouTube. We are 2 hours 34 minutes in. I just made a post for social media. We waited for that. All right, so alright, so this is a board we did have to resuscitate. It is not it is not going to flatline under our supervision. I'm just trying to make some medical jokes, which I don't have any. All right. By the way, those who are just listening, not really watching the chat, we had Dwayne say, I laugh when I see DNR, because I have DNR written on the board. I laugh when I see DNR as a formerly working in a nursing home. I keep thinking, do not resuscitate. DNR, do not resuscitate. I did not know that was a thing. All right, it's cool. So the board has cooled off a little bit. Now I have a new layer of flux. So what I'm gonna do is place the top layer on top temporarily. Just trying to get it on there first. Now I gotta line up this post with this. Then I can lock this side in place. This one seems to be locked in place. That. Just move it up a little bit. All right, here we go, guys. Here's the grand finale, I think. So I've turned on the preheater, so I only have a few seconds to kind of line this up. It's pretty much lined up. The goal here is to look at the perimeter of the top layer and see if I see any gold. So if you remember, there's like a gold outline. You kind of see it here. So the goal is to kind of push the board around so it lines up. You kind of see some gold here. You guys see that? Kind of. I can see it. You guys see that gold here on the right? Right here. So you kind of want to use that as your reference. So yeah, see I bumped it up a little bit. Alright, so basically now it's just a waiting game. So why don't we do this? Let's look at the side view. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see. But the top layer is gonna kind of gonna drop down to the. Let's see if you guys can see it happen. You guys even see good. So I have a feeling it's been. Oh, there it goes. I actually saw it. So I'm pushing down so it makes better contact. I kind of saw it move into place. So what I'm gonna do here is just bump the top layer. See if you guys can notice that. So I'm like gently bumping. And you probably can't see it. So let me shrink this back down. Sorry, it's kind of weird to do this live. Adjusting all these windows. Put that there. Get down a little bit. All right, so take a look at how the board kind of snaps into place. So I'm using like 2 hands here to stabilize my tweezers. You guys see that? So same thing here. You can bump this top layer. Kind of snaps into place. That means the solder between the 2 layers is in a liquid state. So the surface tension kind of pulls it, together. Doesn't want to move. Now I've turned off the preheater, the bottom heater. I'm gonna place it down. Now we gotta kind of basically wait again. And I ran out of water. I've been talking a lot. Alright, so I'm gonna put this off to the side. Before I forget, I do like to clean my stencils before I forget. I don't want to grab my stencil next time I got this job and then it's all dirty and I have to spend, a few minutes to clean it up. So while I'm waiting for that board to cool down, I'm going to kind of spend some time to clean up. All right, cool. So I'm gonna put this away. Oh. It's the soldering jig just clamped to my finger. I was actually kind of sloppy, so I'm not surprised. All right. So here's my paste that was left over. I have a lot. So I'm gonna just push it back into the little bucket here. All right, let's pretend that didn't happen. I'll edit this part out. Just kidding. I am not gonna spend time editing this. This is all live. This is raw. This is what real life looks like. Luckily, I did not have any mistakes in this whole process, so it went by pretty smooth. Well, no mistakes so far. Who knows, what I'm gonna run into the last few minutes. All right, so I got everything out of the way. I have the board. Actually, let's inspect it under the microscope. Forget that this part. So let's see. So there's a bunch of flux here, so it's kind of hard to see the. Oh, you can kind of see it here. Zoom in all the way. So you see the little round-looking things? That's the solder between the 2 layers. Yeah, this is pretty much all making solid contact. So let me see, if I drop some isopropyl alcohol, you can actually see a little better. So yeah, basically looks pretty even as far as like the gap. There's no like openings, like one part real wide, one part real tight. Oops. It's funny because the last video I did of a bottom board swap with the iPhone 10, the customer, well, it was a shop guy who does screen repairs. Apparently he was watching the live stream, so I was working on it. He texted me like, "Hey, is that my phone?" So I was like, maybe. I don't know. It just kind of adds a little bit to the suspense if I know the customer's watching. Because what if something goes wrong? I like totally can't just like try to explain it away because it was live on YouTube. Like I can't say like, oh yeah, I don't know, you know, I was probably already like that. All right, so I'm kind of doing this for no reason other than trying to show you guys the solder balls in between the. So you guys see that? When I add isopropyl alcohol, it makes it a lot more easier to see. All right, 5 viewers. Who are these 5 people somewhere on planet Earth watching me put isopropyl alcohol on a iPhone board? All right, let me check something real quick. So this is my DT880. It's like a mini DC power supply. I'm just gonna check super quick to see if there's a short. So the point here is for push power, I get 0 current draw, so that's good. It means no main short. Hold the power button or the prompt to boot, and the boot up consumption looks like a normal boot up consumption pattern. So that's good. So I'm just gonna turn this off and just jump right into putting it in a housing to see if it turns on and whatnot. So this is my known good housing, OEM, no aftermarket parts, because aftermarket parts on certain models, especially 10s Max, a bad aftermarket charging port will cause the phone to restart every 3 minutes, which makes it difficult to deal with. You plug in the Wi-Fi antennas. Plug in all the cameras. Where's my screen here? Right. The battery plugged in. So here it is. Here's another moment of truth. All right. Plug into charge. USB charging current is up there. Now it turns on. 1.3, 1.5 USB charging current. There's a old bottom board with the new bottom board inside. All right, look at that. So we have some pretty important messages here. No SIM card. We have touch. We don't have. If we had a baseband issue, which is one of the chips I transferred over to the new bottom board, it would not say no SIM card. It would say eventually it would say cellular update failed, something like that. But it said no SIM card. That means do I have? Oh, I do have a SIM for this guy. So let's try it. This is a Sprint SIM card. I'm gonna pop it in, plug it in. SIM card icon message disappeared. See, 3 bars, LTE. All right, baseband is, oh, here you go, some messages. I'm not gonna show what those messages are because it's personal information. All right, so I'm gonna unlock the screen outside of your view. All right, so here's NFC. So the phone's gonna freak out and be like, swipe up to recover. Then I have to put the PIN code again, which is none of your business. All right, so this is normal. Basically what it detected was the NFC is not original. Now I have to go through this. Basically, I like to call it like it has to resync the NFC chip, because the NFC contains the pin code data. I don't know exactly how that works. I just know NFC has to do with pin code. So now it has to kind of rebuild the code inside the NFC or something so that it can unlock the screen. So this process, let's see how long this takes. Attempting data recovery. All right, so we still have 5 viewers. If you're watching, let me know in the comments or in the live chat. I'm still curious who's watching. You should comment your city, or let's see, what's another fun fact? Why don't you comment? Let's see, what's something interesting? What's something interesting? How about this? Comment whether you think cats are better or dogs are better as far as a pet, because I have both, and my cat is he's a dick. Like you basically can't cuddle him. He just like hangs out and sleeps all day. You try to pet him, he'll sometimes like try to punch you. And dog, he's a puppy, so he's kind of crazy. So I don't know. He just tries to bite everything. So there's that. Yeah, it's gonna take forever. I mean, I technically could have just swapped over NFC and saved this step, but that's an additional chip that could go wrong during this process, and might as well just do this. Keep the good chip, you know, keep it on the board. So I heard someone said that once they did a bottom board swap, Apple Pay stopped working. Although I've done a ton of them, maybe like 10, 20 of these. I don't know, but I never had any customer complain about Apple Pay not working. Also, let me look at that pad that I fixed. I think it was one of these. I think it was this one. Oh, out of view. So AP to CAM PMU resets. Reset signal for AP, application processor. Camera PMU is the power chip for the camera. So I believe this was the one that was broken. Either that one or this one. PMU to system code reset low. I don't think it was this one. So I guess if it was this one, then it'd be a good idea to test the camera to make sure that's working. Let's see. So we're getting there. I'm gonna grab some water. All right, cool. Someone chimed in about the pet thing. So Dwayne said, like people, it depends on the pet. My first cat will want you to cuddle him all the time. My girl cat will let you cuddle for a few minutes and then she's done. Our dog is the sweetest. She's a pit bull, and everyone always concerned but they have no need to be just because the breed has a bad rep. Yeah, I think my cat is like your girl cat, and that he'll cuddle, but like if you just do the wrong movement or something, he'll get mad and just like jump off you and go away. Or like if you just pick him up, try to hold him, he'll just start like kind of not crying, but just like groaning, like annoyed that you picked him up. But it's funny because at night he will, like I'll lay in bed and he'll just crawl and just like lay on top of me and go to sleep and start purring. So I don't know, but during the day, like he's just doing his own thing. Our dog is, you know, like I mentioned, he's still a puppy. He's like 8 months old, but he's crazy. He'll just like nonstop has to be chewing on something, whether it's like your hand, toy. If he's like walking by plants, he'll like just bite at it for no reason. So I don't know. He'll sometimes just lay there and cuddle, but mostly if you try to like start the cuddle session, he'll just start like biting whatever is nearby. Like my hoodie has these little strings, so he'll just go right at them and start like chewing on them. So yeah. All right, cool. So this is a pretty exciting micro soldering live on YouTube right now. But I'm just gonna show the process. Oh, you know what? I know. Let me finish this audio IC I was in the middle of. So bonus feature. I have an audio IC that was halfway through it, and I'm like, you know what? Let me do the bottom board swap. So I already have the jumpers. I have the chip here ready. And I'm gonna go ahead and place it. I knew I could have kind of spent some time doing something else while we wait for this phone to finish. Let's see, where's it at? Still not done. All right, so this is iPhone 7 Plus with the audio IC issue, which is pretty much done. I gotta place the chip. You guys get some bonus content. So what I like to do when placing chips is go in circles. So it kind of distributes the heat evenly. Oh, shit. All right. I don't know what the hell happened, but this chip flew off. But I don't think anything melted, so let me just add some more flux and put it back. The good news is nothing messed up, so I don't have to start over. I just gotta place the chip back. That was weird. I haven't had that happen to me in years, probably. No, I have other chips do that, but not audio IC. Maybe I was talking too much. All right, so here's how you know this chip has connected. Take a look at the corners, how like it moves. You'll see it kind of snap into place. Hopefully. I'm still not there yet. There it goes. It kind of moves into place. There you have it. This thing over here is almost done. So this thing over here is pretty much done. Alright, let's go back over here. Let me get this phone. Yeah, usually when I'm working on multiple. Oh, look at that. There it goes. So the data recovery, quote unquote, process was successful, and now I just have to like load up the home screen or the lock screen. So you can already hear the notifications. So I'm gonna put this here so you can see what it does. Also, like I did want to show like the whole process because there's so many videos online where they kind of skip over stuff, and then you know, if you're, let's say you wanted to attempt this repair yourself, and you know, you want to like make sure you follow all the right steps. Going through this in real time, like real life situation versus a highly edited video, it doesn't. You can miss a lot of details in that. So I'm making you guys suffer with this as much as, you know, we're going through this together, guys. All right, this audio I see. Oops. So my new microphone is a wireless microphone. So my concern when I started this video is it going to last? Like, is it gonna die out in the middle of the video? So, you know, it can last 3 hours so far. Trying to find the cable here. All right, this thing is still loading. iPhone 7 audio IC, iPhone 7 Plus audio IC is about to boot up. Oh, look at that. Alright, so NS Max. Those are pin codes. Look at that. So let me turn up the brightness. That's because that touch fully working every single spots. All right. So next question is that we have Sprint's LTE. So baseband is working. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are working, which is the Wi-Fi chip. Let me pull up the Wi-Fi networks. Look at that. We have I'm gonna focus. All right, hold on. So yeah, we have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Where's in your focus? So yeah, I would say this one's successful. Let me just check something really quick. Oh yeah, let me check the cameras. Our front camera isn't working, although it came in with no touch, so I can't verify that. All right, so I mean, this is pretty much good to go. I'm going to test it in the customer's housing later, but I mean, you pretty much saw everything else is good. Let me check the sound. Sound. Yeah, sound is working. Vibration is working. Let me make a call. I'll call customer service. Why isn't it focusing?
Now part of T-Mobile. Para español,
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everything's working. So let's go ahead and call it a win. Oh, it's iPhone 7 Plus is not working. All right, so that one's not part of this video, so let's ignore that. All right, cool. So what a long video, 3 hours and 5 minutes, but we had a successful repair. We did a full iPhone XS Max bottom board swap. We swapped over baseband, Wi-Fi, and the Eeprom data for baseband. Without this Eeprom data, we would have no baseband working, but as you can see, baseband was working. So really appreciate every single one of you that have watched this video. I see there's still 5 of you watching now. There's 8 likes as of this live recording. So let's see how many likes we can get, you know, as time goes on. If you haven't and you reach the end of the video, please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell so you can get notified next time I go live. I do my best to go live at least once a week. Sometimes I'll do twice. It depends how busy I am and any like interesting repairs or other stuff that I haven't done yet. I don't want to keep doing the same type of videos, so try to mix it up. I do plan on making some other videos for some tools, like some review or how-tos on some tools I have that I want to show off. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, like that, push that, smash the like button, and I'll see you guys next time. And make sure you check out the links in the description. I have a lot of cool stuff there. So, till next time, see you guys later.